And I'm gone, and here I am. Hey, that was magic, right? Da, 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 da. Who am I? Who are you? Does anybody know who anybody is? This is Tom the Beer Whisperer, and we're drinking with a Beer Whisperer. This is a Ruthless Rye, and I'm going to read from their website. Let me get this thing open and top. Don't you hate me? I don't do beer reviews like other folks do. I kind of just pour the beer and we talk about it, but don't you hate some of those you watch and they're 5 minutes in? I've seen some where they're almost 10 minutes in before they even think about popping the beer. I mean, really, do you have that much to talk about? Wow. Beautiful aroma on this. I'm going to read this from their website here. Rye has been a staple grain for millennia. That's a long time, millennia. Woo-hoo. Anyways, I digress. Sought after for its stubborn resilience in the field and revered for its unique flavor. I like rye malt because it tends to add a little bit of spiciness. Ruthless Rye is brewed with rustic grains for refined flavors. Refined, that's nice. Combining the peppery spice of rye, I just said that without reading it, and the bright citrusy flavors of whole cone hops to create a complex ale for the tumultuous transition to spring. Okay, the 6655. Malts, pale, rye, caramel, and chocolate. Okay, that would explain this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful copper color. Yeast and ale yeast. Bittering hops, Bravo. Aroma hops, Chinook, and experimental hops. I don't know what experimental hops smell like, but I definitely know what a Chinook smells like, and that definitely has that aroma. Dry hops are Chinook, Citra, and experimental. Oh, good God Almighty! Great big, great big, great big. I like this beer. I actually had this one maybe. I don't see a date on here. I may be slightly past the date on this one because I like to tell you to drink them fresh, especially when you're dealing with the beer like this. That is sort of a rye version of an IPA. And I do, but I'm the kind of guy that likes to tuck one back to see what happens. It's still a hop forward beer. I'm not exactly seeing where the date is on here. It might have rubbed off, but anyway, but I did buy that back when they first came out, so I have had it for a little bit. I just tucked it in the back of my fridge, and there it says. But it is still a hop forward beer. And what I love about it, oh, it still does that. Holy crap! Is that the finish is just wicked good because you take a drink. And you're whacked by the hops, right? But then right at the very end, you get that slight spiciness from the rye. It just cuts it clean off for you. It's just beautiful, man. The rye is just gorgeous. Crisp carbonation. And then you get that when that rye malt hits, it's just oh my gosh. Oh, man. Oh, wow, that's good. Hey, I'm using my double blind glass. I point this out every time I use it. My friends sent me two of these glasses. I just love them. Those beer glasses. But anyway, I love the color of this beer. That kind of light copperish thing going on. Oh, mercy me. Did some ribs earlier today that tasted phenomenal. I got finishing up a pork butt. Hopefully I'll get done so I can take some to my mom tomorrow. But anyway, this is kind of beer that's good with meat like that. Because it is big and bold, it's going to hold up to big meat. Big meat. Anyways, I digress. This girl walks into a bar and she says, "I like a beer." The bartender says, "And how's your bush?" She says, "Fine. How is your dick?" You get it? Anyway, it's an old joke. I digress. It's a tough crowd tonight. Oh, wow. This is a fantastic beer. One of my favorites. I am a fan of the rye ale. Here's the thing. It seems that if you put rye in a beer these days, it has to be a rye PA or a version of basically an India Pale Ale with rye malt added. I did have one a while back that was actually more of a rye Pale Ale and not a rye IPA, which is more what this one is. Uh, from a small brewery in St. Louis called Civil Life. What's interesting about Civil Life is, I've talked about it before, but what's interesting about them is that their concentration is more on session ales. Most of their stuff is between 4.5% and 5%. They're priced fairly reasonable for a small brewery. Oh, there we go. That's better. Now I feel better. No, seriously though. But anyway, I got a growler that's been back, I don't know, a few months now. Oh, holy cow! Of a 4.5% rye pale, and it was phenomenal, man. It is not this beer though. I mean, this beer is great big. It's both, but that one was solid, sessionable, and drinkable. Two different animals. And my point being that you can have some dimension. Not everything has to be this, and not everything has to be that. Sometimes you're in the mood for big and bold, and sometimes you just want a very tasty session beer. And that's what's great about it is a brewery that proves that you can make a tasty session ale, because that one you really could taste the pronounced rye malt. It wasn't hop forward like this one, but you could taste the hops, but it really showcased what you could do with rye malt. So if anybody ever happens to be traveling this way, definitely, or go to St. Louis, make sure you hit breweries like Civil Life and Urban Chestnut and Four Hands and, Six Row. I don't buy a lot of growlers because, well, they tend to be expensive, right? I mean, but those breweries do have phenomenal beer, so you get them when you can. Mm. Wowzer. Wowzer, wow, wow. I digress. Oh, wow. That's what we're working with here. Can you see that? I like the color on this. I really do. It's got a nice color. This is a phenomenal beer, and I am a fan of the rye beer, so I hope this makes the rotation again next year. Sometimes they phase beers in and out. Last year they had the glacé that kind of came in and then went out. So I'm kind of hoping this one stays in the rotation. If they think they may need to make some adjustments, they can. But I mean, it's a fine brew. I do like the style. 6655. Those are pretty solid numbers. You know, um, can hops get bigger? Yeah, why not? I mean, you could do an imperial version of this. Sure, sure. I mean, I would love to see. I mean, this is so tasty. I would love to see an imperial rye. Uh, you know, it's not something you see a lot of. There's imperial. Of course, there's imperial IPAs, there's imperial reds, and there's some, there's the great big black IPAs that run close to 10%. I'd love to see somebody do an imperial rye. Take this beer. Hey, Sierra Nevada, if you're listening, take this 6.650 IBU beer and turn it to about 8.5%. 80, 85 IBU. See what happens, because I think you have a winner, man. People love the double IPAs, but I think the spiciness of the rye turned up a notch all the way to an 8%, 8.5% beer with about 80 IBUs. Man, I think you wouldn't keep that thing on the shelves, man. Uh, Let me know if you agree with it. If you watch this, I mean, sometimes I have as many as a dozen people watching my stuff. I digress. I'm like 2 o'clock in the morning drunk face. We're getting down to the end here. And I've talked before about the evolution of a beer. Sometimes it tastes different from the top end to the bottom end. And that's not a bad thing. Sometimes they get better. Sometimes they get worse. Sometimes it stays the same. I don't know if this got better, but we certainly didn't lose anything. It's a phenomenal beer, man. And if you're a fan of an IPA, if you don't like big hoppy brews, this probably ain't going to be your thing. But because it is pretty hop forward, even though it's 55 IBUs, which is a little bit less than most IPAs. But it is there. It's a very hop forward beer. But the rye malt just gives it that little extra something, man. And I dig it. Oh. Anyways, I digress. That was a great beer. Oh. Thanks for drinking with me, man. Well, let's bring it in. Let's have a group hug. Anyway, hey, y'all have a great night. I'm going to call it an evening. This time the Beer Whisperer. This was a great beer, Ruthless Rye.